and welcome back to Blake's New York Kitchen. Today we're going to be doing some entertaining, and one of the things I like to make when I entertain is salmon. All right, now baked salmon sounds very simple, and it really is, but there's some things you absolutely have to know. One is, depending on the thickness of your salmon, that's going to determine how long it takes to get done. And I personally hate overcooked salmon, probably more than anybody I know. The right temperature on the meat, for the meat to be done, is 120. All right, if you're 130, you're okay. If you're 118, 19, nothing below 120 really. But if you're up to 130, you're fine. Go above 130, 35 to 40, the fish is overdone. And nobody likes salmon that's overcooked. Salmon that's overcooked usually is dry and not very tasty. All right, so you really want your fish to be succulent and moist and really pleasant. I hope you like it. We're making baked salmon. Man, that's a good looking piece of salmon. Here for now. Yeah, this one got mangled up a bit. That's okay. Dry your fish. So we're going to take this fish, put it on the paper towel. Okay. We're going to flip this around because you want your fish to be somewhat dry. You don't need all that extra moisture. A little olive oil. That's plenty. Just enough to coat the bottom of the pan. You're saying, well, there's a little water in there too. That's not the end of the world. I'm going to take all this garlic and I'll spread it around in here. So all that garlic can go in the pan with the oil. Should have started on the other side. And now we'll pepper on this side. Be careful, I'm running out of pepper. Okay. And put it in our pan. Now, go down this way and this way. You don't want to really fold it if you can help it because it's going to shrink a bit. All right. Make sure there's a little bit of separation there. What you're doing at this stage is building flavors. I'm going to get some butter out. We had some oil in the bottom of the pan. I'm going to add just a little bit of butter to this fish to give it a little more depth. Just a little pat of butter here. Two, three, four. Some capers might be nice. Okay. Let's try to get a little caper on every part of the fish, if you can help it. A little bit of white wine, which never hurts. One, two, three, four. Put this over here, this over here, this over here, this over here. Very simple. You don't want to waste any of that juice. All right. Or this side as well. Very last thing we're going to do is cover this with dill. You can use the stems, but I don't usually like to, because the dill itself is long enough to cover the whole dish. All right, you want some dill covering the whole dish, and that's fresh dill, so it's going to be nice and strong enough. Just some good old-fashioned Reynolds wrap. And I'm going to cover this up. Some people say you need to tent it, but it's not really necessary, I don't think. I want to keep as much of that juice inside so it'll steam the fish. All right, and that's it. That's all she wrote. This is now ready to go in the oven, but since it's a little while before my company comes, and this only takes between 25 and 30 minutes to cook, I will leave it as is. I'm going to stick it in the refrigerator and pull it out and put it in the oven later on before company comes. So I showed you how to prepare fish for baking, and we stick it in the oven at 400 degrees. Now, depending on how thick it is, how thick your pieces are, it may get done in 25 minutes, it may get done in 35 minutes, but the point is you want to take it and test it with a probe thermometer to get it to 120 to 130 degrees, thereabouts. If you do that, you'll end up with very succulent, tender, delicious fish. Okay? Now I'm starting to make something to go with that. I'm making a mustard cream sauce. It's a very simple sauce, but you'll see it works beautifully with fish. You can use it for other things too, but with fish it's just perfect. Starting by melting butter. This is actually more butter than I usually use. This is about 5 tablespoons of butter. But I want it to be very, very rich. And I'm using a small saucepan because we don't need a whole lot of it. This is a tool that not everybody has or even wants or needs, but it's a tiny whisk. Perfect for whisking sauces. And this is the thing, you're going to want to whisk this sauce quite a bit once you get it heated up. Once the butter melts, I'm going to be adding mustard, lemon juice, garlic, cream, two kinds of mustard. I use Coleman's dry mustard, dry English mustard, and a little bit of Dijon. And then I also have some white pepper and some salt. The juice of half a lemon and some white wine as well. And what's tricky about this particular thing is you don't want it to overheat. Again, because you're going to be cooking with cream and oil, you really need a very low heat. But you also have to have enough heat to cook your garlic. So the plan is to boil the butter, let it just start to simmer a little bit. Then I'm going to add the garlic in. Looks like my butter is melted. Okay, so now I'm going to add in thinly sliced garlic. Now this is quite a lot of it, but as I've said many times before, I like a lot of garlic. And at this point I'm going to add some salt. And some white pepper. You can use black pepper too, but white pepper has a nice kick to it. You don't want to brown this butter, so when it starts to bubble and boil, you want to take it off the heat and stir it up. By thin slicing the garlic, what you do is you make a situation where some of that garlic's just going to disappear in here as it cooks. And as with any cream sauce, there's going to be a lot of stirring. So just be prepared for a lot of stirring. Because you want to keep it moving, you don't want it to get too hot, you want everything to cook. But you don't want to overdo it. It's, you know, it's one of those things where you'll know if you've messed it up. That's for sure. I'm going to add some white wine. And I want to let this cook. Now that's not a lot of white wine. It's probably about, I want to say, 1/8 of a cup. But when you bring it back up to a simmer, that'll start to cook off some of that wine in the butter. And since wine is an acid, this is probably a good time to add the juice of a lemon as well. Here comes your lemon juice. The juice of half a lemon. And let this come back up to a simmer. Bring the heat back up a little bit. And now is when I'm going to start adding mustard. Now I'm using a Dijon mustard that I'm very fond of. Nice, big, healthy portion of that. Okay. As you can see, it's starting to boil. I'm just going to incorporate this, and I'm going to turn down the heat. And we really want to mix that. Dijon mustard has a lot of salt in it. Now, as a sauce, this will work just the way it is right now, with just wine, butter, and mustard. But we're going to add a little bit of dry mustard as well, and I find that the Coleman's dry mustard, let's see how much I want to put in there. It's probably about a teaspoon, maybe a little bit more than a teaspoon. Not as much as a tablespoon. I'm going to pour that in there. And I'm going to incorporate that as well. Now, the dry mustard has a heat to it that's a little bit different than the Dijon. But like I said before, Dijon mustard has a lot of salt in it. So in order to cut that salty flavor a little bit, and all the acid and stuff like that, we're going to add some cream to this. And once the cream is added, it's done. You just got to keep stirring it so that when the fish is done, you'll have this nice, delicious sauce to go over the top. Again, making sure to regulate the temperature. All right. And you know how many people you're going to feed, so you'll know if you don't need to have a whole lot of cream. There we go. Now that I've added the cream, I'm going to take a taste. Perfect. Exactly the way it should be. It's salty and tangy, but it's not over the top. It's just right. So we're going to let this heat for a minute, and then I'll go get my apron because I forgot to put it on. Like I said, depending on how thick your fish is, it can be as little as 20 minutes or it can be as long as like 30, 40 minutes. I'm going to check mine at 25 minutes, all right? And then I'm going to, if it's done, I'll set it to the side, and if it's not done, well, I'll stick it back in the oven for a minute or two. But with fish, you're always talking about a minute or two. It takes no time at all for fish to overcook. So the best strategy is to have a sense of it when you start. 20, 25 minutes, take your probe thermometer, check it. If it's not quite high enough temperature, put it back in for a minute or two. If it's already past the 120 mark, you take it off. You take it out immediately. Okay, let's see what we got. Here it's sizzling. All right. I'm going to see when I open this up that the dill was just placed on top in the pan over the fish. Right? So when I put my probe thermometer in, I want to find the spot that is in the thickest, right? And Chino is in the middle, so I'm going to go right in there. And it's already a little overdone, actually. So here we have a baked salmon dinner. Tender, flaky salmon, not way overcooked. It's absolutely terrific for entertaining. I would highly recommend going out there and trying some fish yourself if you get a chance. Thank you for coming to Blake's New York Kitchen, and don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks again. Let me cut another piece of this because I like fish. See, it's not overcooked. That's what I love about it. It's still moist.